Okay, there's been some questions about the use of the equation editor in Canvas. The reason that I have you do this exercise, and there are lots of problems here, is for you to get lots of practice doing different types of problems and having you enter them. But it's also very important that you use the equation editor properly. Some of you are stringing them out opening up a field for each character or a field for each part of the expression. And if you see the example above that I use for question 8, there are no separate characters or terms on here. It's all included in one string. And so you need to do that because, what I'm trying to get you to do here is learn to use a function like this, because there's an equation editor in Microsoft Word. And you may be writing a report or some sort of questionnaire or whatever that requires the use of a mathematical expression, and you need to learn how to enter it properly so that it looks professional. So I picked question 8 because there's a lot going on here, and there's a very common problem that occurs in question 8, and I use it specifically is so that when you look at the problem, you start to see, first off, you've got lots of subscripts here, the little b, you've got air, you've got some others here with some fractions, and then you've also got this funny looking character that looks like a p. It's not a p. It's called rho, and it stands for the resistance. And so you have to use the Greek letter rho to put it in there. Those of you that will take or have taken chemistry or physics, P is actually another expression used in momentum. So let's take a look at this so that we understand how to put this together so that we're not creating a separate field for each of these. So of course, the first thing you need to do is find the equation editor function. And in this case, it's that little square root of x sign. So when I click on the square root of x, I get a box or a field here for the square root of x. I'm going to move it down here a little bit so that we can still see it. And you can see you've got all of these tabs up here that allow you to enter the expression and the functionality. So in this case, the automatic default for opening is basic. And so in basic, you can see you've got a subscript, you've got a superscript, you've got a fraction, you've got the front part of a radical, you've got a full radical, and some other things. You've got some operators here that you can use, plus, minus, minus, plus. You've got a multiplication sign. That's not an X. That's a multiplication sign. Use the multiplication sign when you're putting your forms together here. The next tab is your Greek letters, okay, and you can see the one on the far side here is actually rho, so that's the one you'll use. One of the others that you will use is this little one, looks like a W. It is in fact not a W, it's a lowercase for omega, okay? You've got a separate tab for some other operators. These you probably won't use very much, though I do use the delta occasionally. Relationships, these come in handy, especially for greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, which you can use the keystroke right from your keyboard to enter those as well. Some of the others are a little more difficult to get to. Approximately equal to, approximately proportional to, so there are those as well. Arrows you may or may not use. Delimiters you may or may not use. And then some miscellaneous terms here you may or may not use. So typically we start with the basic relationship from this expression. So in the window here, and I've got it set up to the basic one, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to enter the letter F, and then I'm going to do a subscript. And in this case, the subscript is B. And then I'm going to not space over. I'm using the left, right, up, down key to move to the next character. So I've moved it from one field to the other so that now I can just type in equals. If you don't do it correctly, it will not look correct. Okay, notice I didn't create a whole new field for this. So now I'm going to enter the next one, and it's M, and then I'm going to do a subscript for air, and then I'm going to move over to the right using the up down left right, and I'm going to put in the lowercase g. You'll notice that everything looks consistent. None of the characters change. If the character looks like it changed, you have moved out of equation editor mode and you are in text mode, and that is not allowed. Okay, so we are still in equation editor mode. Now I'm going to put another equal sign. And so now what I need to do, some of the equation editors, like in Word, it will let you choose a open close parenthesis. So if you go through the tabs here and look, I don't have an open close parenthesis. So I'm forced to use the shift on the keyboard, and now I have an open close parenthesis. Now it's looking for the information to put inside. So the next thing I'm going to do is the Greek letter rho, and I'm going to do a subscript. So I have to go back to basic, hit subscript, type air. Now I have to move the cursor over to the right 2 times. Okay, you'll notice it's now no longer illuminated, and it's inside of the parentheses. Okay, so what I need to do is keep it inside of the parentheses to do my capital V. Okay, now I can move it outside and type in my lowercase g equals. Again, I want to do another set of parentheses, so I hit shift parentheses, and now I can put my 1.29. Now I need to enter my my units in here. In this case, kilograms per meters cubed. Okay, so I can put kilograms here in the denominator. I can either click on the gray blocks, or I can move up down. In this case, I'm going to do M, and I'm going to do a superscript for the exponent of 3. Okay, now I tab it over, I move it over using the left or the right key for the up, down, left, right. Open up another set of parentheses by hitting shift parentheses, and I have 9.80. Again, I go back to the basics, open up my fractional portion here. I have meters, move it down to the denominator. I use my down key, S, superscript. I'm going to put squared, and that's everything that's inside of the parentheses there. Again, equals. Let's see if I can move this over so I can see the rest of the problem. There we go. 70.5 newtons. So now everything is in one string, in one complete capture here, or in one complete field. I didn't create a separate field for each term in the equations. When I enter it, boom, there it is. Okay. When you submit them to me, I see a little red rectangle or square around each of those terms, and I know that you did not do it correct. So in this case, I've got everything captured correctly in one string. If it happens to be a problem, I'll scroll up here to the problem that has text associated with it. Again, you do the same thing. It allows you to type the text into the string here. You do not append it on in a separate field. Okay, so the other problem here, if we look down here at the bottom, we've got that funny looking character omega. It's not a W. Okay, so I hope this is a quick explanation to help you in using the equation editor. Some of you have in fact submitted this already, and it's already been graded, and I was fairly lenient on the grades for this because this is really an exercise in getting you used to using it properly. So the equation editor.